Movement, probably the hardest element of Splatoon to master. In Splatoon, every frame of the game counts. Being able to move your character quickly can decide games. Splatoon's movement is extremely deep, and in Splatoon 3, there are even more movement options to consider. In this video, I will explain all of these movement options and how to best use them. There are timestamps in the description, so feel free to skip around to anything you need help with. With all that said, let's get into the video. Let's get the basics down first. In Splatoon, you play as an Inkling or Octoling. You can shoot ink by pressing the ZR button. By pressing ZL, you can turn into what we call swim form. If you are in swim form, you will submerge in ink. While in your ink, you can swim around. Swimming is about twice as fast as walking around. For this reason, when you aren't shooting, you should be swimming. Certain surfaces can't be inked, so you have to walk on them, and other surfaces can be walked through in kid form, but can't be passed through in squid form. Also, you can swim up walls painted in your color. Now let's move on to jumping. You can jump by pressing the B button. Holding the B button lets you jump higher. If you jump while swimming, you can travel further. This can be used to cross wide gaps. If you are swimming up a wall, mashing the jump button lets you climb up the wall faster. Jumping while shooting makes the bullets on certain weapons travel farther. Now that you know the absolute basics, let's move on to two new movement options for Splatoon 3. First off is the squid roll. The squid roll lets you quickly change directions while swimming. In order to perform a squid roll while swimming, quickly flick the stick in a different direction and then press B. You can even change squid rolls into each other. Before you start a second squid roll, make sure that you touch the ink first. Otherwise, the game won't register your input. While squid rolling, you have an armor effect applied to you. The glowing effect on your character represents this. If you take damage while you have armor, some damage that you take will be negated. If you take too much damage, the armor will break. Certain high damage attacks will pierce through this armor. You can cancel out of a squid roll by shooting or letting go of the swim button. This gets rid of the armor effect though, so use it wisely. Also, using too many squid rolls in a row has a movement penalty. You can squid roll off walls by tilting the stick away from a wall and pressing B. You can squid roll onto the ground, on a wall, and then squid roll again off the wall to do what's basically a wall jump. Speaking of walls, let's move on to the squid surge. The squid surge lets you launch yourself into the air off any paintable wall. To perform the squid surge, hold B on a wall to charge and then release. You can cancel out of the squid surge into a squid roll by tilting the stick away from the wall and pressing B. Use this to get the jump on your enemies with a surprise attack. Remember to use the squid surge with caution though. Weapons like chargers can take advantage of the predictable path of the squid surge and easily get a splat off you. Sometimes it's better to climb up a wall by mashing B. It's a lot stealthier than the squid surge. Now that we have the basics out of the way, how can you use these techniques for more advanced movement? This section contains lesser known movement that you can do. Most of this text takes a while to master, so don't beat yourself up if you don't know how to do it on your first try. When you swim and you want to switch directions, your character pauses for a second and then starts moving again. This is really slow and predictable. There's a technique that lets us prevent this though. Substrafing lets you quickly cancel your momentum while switching directions. In order to substrafe, you must swim, then quickly press the sub-weapon button, R, press ZL while you're still holding R, and then move the stick in your desired direction. Finally, release R. Remember to hold R while changing directions so you don't accidentally throw a sub-weapon. Substrafing can be combined with other movement options. You can substrafe into a squid roll, or you can substrafe and then shoot. Get creative with your movement. Use these techniques to outmaneuver your opponents. Throwing bombs is a great way to force your enemies to move, but what if there was a way to get some extra distance from your throws? By swimming and jumping forwards, you can throw bombs a little farther. You can also throw bombs farther by swimming backwards and squid rolling forwards. This can be used on ledges that may have limited space. Next is splat hopping. Splat hopping is a way to quickly move through enemy ink. In order to splat hop, you swim then jump. While you are in the air, paint under your feet, then quickly go back into swim form. This can be repeated quickly to escape a sticky situation. There is another variant of this technique called splatdashing. Splatdashing is like splat hopping but you don't jump. Shoot the 4 quickly and swim. Repeat this multiple times to quickly move around and avoid enemy shots. When you swim up a wall by mashing B and finally reach the top, you are stuck in the air for a bit. This is really slow and not stealthy. There's a technique called ledge canceling that lets you cancel your momentum and stick to the top of the ledge. To do this, go up a wall and mash B. Right when you're about to reach the top of the wall, press ZL and go into swim form. If you do it correctly, you should stick to the ground. On top of this just being faster, using ledge cancels correctly lets you approach more stealthy. Look how much faster climbing this wall with ledge canceling is without it. Those frames saved could decide the game. When you swim, your character produces ripples. This can give away your location to your opponents. There's a technique that prevents this. Stealth swimming lets you swim without producing any ripples. To stealth swim, just tilt the stick about 50% forward. Try to swim as fast as possible without preventing any ripples. People who play weapons like rollers and brushes love this technique and use it to sneak up on opponents and land a fast attack. Splatoon's movement is incredible, and Splatoon 3's additions of the squid roll and squid surge look to add tons of depth to the already deep system of Splatoon. Do you have any movement tips? What movement strategies do you use? Comment below. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 2,000 subs before Splatoon 3 comes out and would really appreciate the help. Also, check out my socials linked in the description. With all that said, have an amazing day.